Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Adamola Bookman podcast. This is a podcast where we read footballers' books. I'm joined by my co-host, Johnny Coughlin. Hi, Johnny. How you doing?
Hello, Al Bond. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, sir. Everything's rosy. And this week, we're doing the biography of Lionel Messi by our old friend, Guillem Balague. So then, Johnny, I always ask this, what did you know about Messi before the World? What did you know?
What I'm worried about in this particular episode, Al, is that we're not going to talk about Messi. Can I ask you a question? What did you know about Guillem Balague?
I know that he was a twat, but I didn't know he was this much of a twat. Oh, you motherfucker. But we'll get on to this. Yeah, honestly, Johnny, I don't want to talk about Messi, because what's more there to say? He is the greatest footballer that ever lived. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the conversation is kind of over now, right? In a way.
Yeah, well, the World Cup put it to bed. I think fairly undeservedly. But I would say, yeah, for me, he's the best ever. He is the best ever. But he's also the most boring man that ever lived, isn't he? That's the problem with old Messi. He is a dull, dull man. And this is a deeply, deeply boring book. Oh, I hate this book, Johnny, more than any book I've ever read in my life. I'm not saying it's the worst book, because there's books I've put down before because, you know, I didn't have to read them. I had to read this, all 726 pages. And it is the worst book. It is so fucking confusing, the time frame. Like, Guillem Balague is the biggest knobhead ever. I tell you, here's one, Johnny. This is like a love letter to Messi, right? It's a love letter from Guillem to Messi. Oh, I love you. But he has no access. Nothing at all, man. He's pulling off quotes from ESPN.com. Lionel Messi said, what a great game of football, said ESPN. God. He has zero access. There's one point where he does have access. Do you notice where that was?
Go on.
There's one time he speaks directly to Balague, and it's when he's trying to make himself look better when he's left Barcelona. The only time. Balague is, in the modern parlance, a fucking simp. God, Johnny, this book. Okay, so say something. Stop me.
You said 720 pages. Mine was 755, and I had to read this with my goddamn eyes. For me to read that many pages and lots of words per page, might I add, this was a real slog for me. I was like the Revenant at the end of this book, just pulling myself along through this dish of fucking snow and shit, you know?
I would rather be mauled by a fucking bear, Johnny, because at least it would be over quickly. Like, that bear mauling lasted, 2 minutes? This was 14 hours of my fucking life, plus notes. Fuck you, Balague.
And to sound very pretentious now, Al, I read a book years ago by Richard Kapuscinski, who's kind of a journalist, and he wrote a book about Haile Selassie. What he did was he went to Ethiopia just after Haile Selassie had fallen, and he interviewed people who worked in the royal court, and they were all talking about how their job was the most important in the day-to-day, you know, the daily life of the emperor. There was one guy whose job was to select the cushion that the emperor would sit on, and he had to insert the cushion as the emperor was sitting down, and the height of the cushion had to, you know, correspond to the importance of the meeting that the emperor was about to have. You know, just crazy stuff. That's what Balague is like in this. He's like some kind of court scribe working for some dictator who's going to cut his head off unless he writes, you know, I was laughing at the end. Like, he just trying to outdo himself time and time and time again with just, like, how many nice things can you say about anyone? But, like, this is 755 fucking pages of it. It's awful, awful stuff. I Googled this is 120,000 words.
Of which 200 pages of new material, and the rest is just people saying how fucking wonderful Messi is. Oh, but there's other little tricks in there. He's got other little tricks. He's like, oh, this isn't big enough. Let me pad this out. How many fucking badly translated Spanish newspaper reports are in this book?
Yeah,
50, like literally 50.
Yeah. Is it a language thing? Is it a cultural thing? to speak about people like this? Because I just can't imagine anyone speaking about anyone in, Balague likes to make distinctions between Northern Europe and the Latin world. For example, tax evasion in the Latin world, totally fine. But would people speak about players the way he talks about Messi here, and the way these other journalists that he quotes?
No, because no one's going around going, "Oh, look at Cole Palmer. He's an angel on earth." Like, that's a quote, direct quote. An angel on earth. That's Messi, apparently.
The book finished with, "One day he will stop and all of football will be orphaned."
All of football will be orphaned. Yeah, he did say that. It's absolutely ludicrous. And it was so valuable reading the Ronaldo biography
absolutely.
by the same author. Oh, man. It's genuinely astonishing. It's almost exciting how boring it is. I was thrilled. I was laying awake at 4:00 one night, almost like tingling with excitement at how I'd been brought down to this level of tedium I'd never before experienced. I would rather read a book by Charles Dickens. Charles fucking Dickens, Johnny. Give me Bleak House. I would read that motherfucker. I would before I ever touched anything by Balague again.
Well, he's got a pep book.
I'm in. Let's do it next week.
What's the point of talking about Messi and the football, really? What do you think of the Messi, the individual presented in this book?
I'm speechless, Johnny, because he's so boring. What does he do? He cries, he plays football, and he plays PlayStation. That's what he does. He cries, he plays football, and he plays PlayStation. Sometimes he goes to an Argentinian restaurant to make himself feel better, where he's always very humble, isn't he? Oh, he's always so humble in a restaurant. Oh, what a man, an angel. An angel on earth.
On the humility thing, there was a point later on in the book.
There was a chapter.
There's a very sad, the sad story of Tito Villanova, who died of cancer when he was 45, manager of Barcelona. And there's a line, and it says, "Messi, who usually appears like he's not paying attention, looked Tito directly in the eye as Tito was telling him about his cancer diagnosis." Well, bravo, Messi, you are a fucking gentleman. That was so astonishing to me.
Tito Villanova is the second most famous person ever for being poked in the eye after Harold of the Bay of Tapestry, right? That's what Tito Villanova's most famous for, being poked in the eye. Yeah, no, I mean, the angel that was Messi. When he was a kid and he played football with other kids, when they scored, he went to hug them. Wow, what a guy. He loved his grandma. Let's move on to chapter 1 very quickly, right?
Okay, go on. Let's go. But just before you do, because it's going to be a thread, just the difference in treatment between Messi and Ronaldo. Something that Ronaldo does, he's a fucking bastard for doing it. And then Messi does the same thing and he's somehow an angel. It's incredible. Anyway, on you go.
Chapter 1, I can't remember what it's called, too boring. It was, about 700 pages on Messi's childhood? It felt like 700 pages. It went on and on and on and on and on. He loved his grandma. Oh, Messi loves his grandma. And when he was sad when she died. Great information, Guillem. I needed a book for this. Fucking boring bastard. Ridiculous. He's got a tattoo of his mum on his back. If that was Ronaldo, that would be like some evidence of him like wanting to have sex with his mother all the time. It's nuts. Yeah. Chapter 1, so boring. Johnny, I really want to get onto chapter 2. Have you got anything you want to say on chapter 1? Because I want to talk about chapter 2.
Well, what I said, the note I have here, all the people who happened to be around when baby Jesus descended from heaven and touched their lives in various ways. Like, that is ridiculous. But anyway, go on.
I could hear choral music as I was reading. Oh, what a man. What a man. Very interestingly, just very quickly, though, like the youth academy that Messi came through, just to get onto football for a bit, also produced Valdano, Batistuta, Kempes, Sensini, Pochettino, Mascherano, Eva Banniger, Di Maria, Lavezzi, and Messi. Ooh. Wow. Yeah. Forest Nottingham has produced Andy Cole and Chris Sutton.
Okay, second chapter. He's playing for the Lepers. I did enjoy that. Newell's Old Boys.
No, well, let me just get my build up. Okay, so chapter 2. This might not be the worst book ever written. But chapter 2 is the worst chapter ever committed to print in the history of all writing ever. Right. Chapter 2 is called Waiting for Leo. That's a play on Waiting for Godot, isn't it?
Mm.
And it says, Waiting for Leo, a true story with scenes and imaginary meeting set in 2 acts.
Oh, God, that thing. Where did that come out of?
Well, this is what I'm talking about, Johnny. I didn't just pick chapter 2 as being the worst chapter ever for no reason. So this is the period of Messi's life, basically where he's injecting himself. Famously, he had to have hormone injections because he was called a dwarf. He's always called the flea, apparently. And he had to have...
Derisively, people like Mourinho called him, and Ronaldo called him midget, right? That was the other thing.
Allow your imagination to be suspended, says Guillem Balague in this chapter. It's so mad what he does here. So he sets this whole thing, and it's long in the form of a play. But he doesn't stick to that. He just sticks to it when he wants to. Then he'll go on about like aeronomics. It's all over the top, but all in the guise of this play, chapter 2, Waiting for Leo. It's abysmal. The worst chapter I've ever read. Confusing, boring, stupid.
It's a mixture of imagined scenes and quotes of childhood friends, right? And this is a quote. He is the son of all the fathers and sons of Rosario.
He certainly is. Where was an editor in this book, Johnny? Where was the editor saying, I'm not sure this is a good idea?
Yeah, it's like he wrote it on Met or something, right?
Oh, an editor could have come into this book, made it 300 pages and made it readable, right?
Unfortunately, I had to read this one, but if you listen to the audiobook, this and Ronaldo combined are 40 hours long.
40 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he injects himself with these hormone things. It's the only time he doesn't cry. Like, oh, he never cried when he did that because he's so brave. He just cries at every other thing.
Do you remember the imagined conversation? I think it's 8 pages long between the doctor and a child Messi.
A child Messi. Why do you forsake me?
You know, like he lacks some hormone. Like he goes on and on and on, but he doesn't actually explain. Is it your pituitary gland or something? That's what makes you grow. But whatever. There's no actual there's no information in there. You know, it's just all this total nonsense.
Well, it's just a really the scene of the doctor walking out of his room, putting on his hat, concluding that doctors should always wear hats. Yeah, I got that written down. Doctors should have... Editor! Is this necessary, Gib? Yes.
Oh,
doctors should all wear... I don't want doctors to... Remember when I broke my ankle in Cambodia and I went to get the x-ray and the doctor walked in and he was wearing a baseball cap and I didn't want that doctor.
I do remember that.
He's got a fucking baseball cap on. Where's his dog?
He was advised by Balague. That was the only hat he had.
Okay,
So it's famously Messi's. You know, they're greedy, aren't they, the Messis? They're greedy sons of guns.
George Messi just sounds like a fucking turd of a man. Like, awful man. So George Messi's his father and also his agent. And I was Googling him, like, and it was like, find out the man behind the Messi fortune, George. The man behind the Messi fortune is fucking Lionel Messi because he's the best footballer ever. Any cunt could have made him a billionaire. I could have been his agent and made him a billionaire because he's the best. Oh, yeah. George Messi is horrible.
They
horrible man.
They sign a new contract every year. They're always trying to squeeze. They're always putting the squeeze on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, my love for Barcelona. I mean, we'll get onto this. My love for Barcelona. The financial like millstone that he was around that club's neck, best player or whatever. My God.
Yeah, he nearly bankrupted them, right? Or did he bankrupt them?
I did my sums. He was on like 18% of all of Barcelona's revenue. He got about 18% of everything that Barcelona as a football team made. Wow.
And then Balague says that when he leaves to go to PSG, the value of Barcelona dropped by 11%, saying that it was all as a result of Messi leaving, but wasn't it just the fact that Barcelona was totally and utterly bankrupt as an entity? Just total bullshit, like.
Absolutely. I mean, I did my rudimentary sums. I'm not saying it work out. I think they were still better off where Messi buggered off because they
Oh
didn't
my
have to
God.
pay him what was a million pound a week plus.
Remember, so the Ronaldo thing. Ronaldo was packed off like some Victorian child to like a workhouse in like in London by his evil mother. And Messi, poor Messi, has to go. It's like the difference in tone about Messi going to Spain versus Ronaldo going to Portugal. It's like, did this guy not read his own books? It's fucking like, what an asshole. And did you read? I didn't think this was true when Messi went to Barcelona. Immediately, he was 14, I think. They were getting paid 600,000 euros.
Yeah,
And
that
they're
was it.
saying,
That
like,
was
this is not enough money. It's like, he's 14. 600,000 euros is incredible.
it is incredible. And yeah, that was completely that's why it took Barcelona so long to sign him as a kid because the financial package was so enormous for a child that age. But again, this is seen
And
as negligence on Barcelona's part and poor George Messi just trying to do the right thing.
on top of the 600 grand, George Messi gets paid 4 grand a month for doing renovations in the apartment block that they live in. And then it says, actually, just in his own apartment. Like, what a fucking job. That's the job he got. Because that was part of the deal. He would get a job in Barcelona. And that was the, like, well, okay, whatever. Like, who knows what goes on in people's private lives. But that was the end of the, like, the mother's never really mentioned again. She went back to Argentina. And he says that the family kind of split apart there.
Yeah, that's right. But as you say, the tone that they use, like Messi, it sounds like he like washed up on the shore in Barcelona on a boat, right? It's like the poor immigrant experience. They speak fucking Spanish. I mean, he can speak the fucking language. It's so easy for him. He's just a bit homesick. Of course he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could write a biography of every single public schoolboy that's ever been and find them to be incredibly noble and honourable. All the experiences they've had taken away from their family. But yeah, when Ronaldo does it, that's, oh yeah, as you say, Cruella de Vil, his mother, sends him off like to the
Yeah,
work.
exactly. Yeah, dreadful, dreadful. After that stuff, so he goes to Barcelona. Balague does a chapter on the Argentinian character. I just love that stuff. It's just such, like you said, like some of it is enjoyable because it's so bad. And if it was 300 pages of that kind of nonsense, it would be a pile of fun. But yeah, Argentinian character was very, very funny, I thought. Messi could only have been Argentinian. The country, you know what he says later as well? When, like much at the very end of the book, he says when they win the World Cup, Messi has redeemed Argentinians for a moment from their dismal lives. Like that's the word he used, are the words dismal lives. It's like, steady on, Guillem. Like, you know, it's like 40 million people there.
They've got some stuff and they got lovely barbecue. It's not all bad.
It's Messi and barbecue.
Oh, Messi and the barbecue. Yeah, so yeah, Messi goes out there, goes to Spain, he's homesick. You know, that's just so normal and it probably needed a page, but it doesn't get a page, he gets 100 pages.
Yeah.
He eventually adapts to life through rondos. I tell you, I'm just getting my kid to do rondos all day long because apparently that's the only way to become a footballer. Rondo, rondo, rondo.
Yeah. The rondo really is quite central to football, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm bad at them. Real
Yeah,
bad.
I'm shocking. I would like to read a book about Ronaldinho, actually. Now, he's an interesting character.
Yes, he is. He's actually interesting.
He took Messi, the young Messi, under his wing. But
Yeah, he
on and
did.
off the field, though, didn't he? Oh, he could have corrupted the wonderful Messi.
Yeah, I
Baby
mean,
Jesus.
at one point, Balague goes, there were stories from nightclubs in Barcelona. Oh, yeah. Okay, lovely. Tell me. Nope, that's it. That's it. There are no stories. There were stories, but I'm not telling you what they are. On the other hand, if Ronaldo went to a nightclub, oh, the disgusting animal. An Argentinian footballer's wife told me that he looked effeminate and pussy in a nightclub. Yeah, it's wild. There were stories from nightclubs in Barcelona. Full stop. Next paragraph. It's just, oh, thanks, Kim. Thanks for that.
You
Yeah,
asked,
nothing.
you asked in the last episode, how long do you think will be on the World Cup win? He did, I think, about, was it 60 pages on the World Cup in 2016, which they didn't win? Yeah, it was.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of boring, non-essential stuff.
Also, he would, when it's a football match, as you said, there would be some translation from an article in El País or whatever, like Spanish. website or newspaper, and then he would just describe everything again. You had to read everything twice.
Yeah, everything twice, but Balague would write it in an even more boring fashion than one you've already read. Do you think Ronaldinho was a net positive or a net negative for Messi, according to this?
I think positive.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like it must have just been amazing. Okay, Messi is this, starstruck young fella who's come from Argentina, and suddenly the best player in the world is just all about you. It just must have been incredible. And Ronaldinho, like as we've said before, you kind of make up your mind about these players with very, very little evidence about who they actually are. But he does seem lovely, that Ronaldinho.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Just looks like he'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he does.
Unlike Messi, who is zero fun. I cannot stress this enough. How dull Messi is as a man. He's so boring.
I don't know. I think there's something. Okay, he goes there. Messi is a young fella, just obsessed with football, and that's all quite charming. And there is something interesting about this unassuming young fella just becoming this total behemoth, and like you say, probably the best player ever. And he's quiet, he's reserved, he's withdrawn or whatever. But I think over time he turned a bit evil.
Yeah, no, absolutely he did. I think he just becomes so detached. And it's all just, well, I'm sure he's got George there going, Saudi Arabia have got some money for you. Saudi Arabia have got some money for you. Go get it.
Well, yeah, he did get it, and he didn't even have to go there.
Yeah, I mean, and this is exactly the point, isn't it? Whereas, Ronaldo, castigated scumbag, off to Saudi. He's still getting his blood money, and the old Messi, he still gets it.
Well,
but he just doesn't get any of a bad...
yeah,
he's an ambassador for Saudi Arabia, ambassador for beheadings and stonings. He's an ambassador for that, but that's fine, because it's Messi, lovely, humble Messi.
Yeah. On the football stuff, I did like this stuff, and apparently Ronaldo's the same. That Messi says that he doesn't look at the ball. We saw this in Puskas as well. He watches the defender's legs when he's approaching another player. These guys are operating on some level, aren't they?
Yeah, that is a different level. I think that's what people used to say about Pele back in the day. It's like, oh yeah, he wasn't watching the ball. Yeah, he put it through your legs or nick it off your leg, and he knew where it was going.
I was reading a thing there about Ronaldo yesterday or the day before, and they were saying that it was the same. He runs without looking at the ball, and they said there was this thing where, and for some reason they only did it twice, but they got in a kind of a dark, like at night time. They got someone to cross the ball to him and turn off the lights in the stadium after the guy kicked the ball, and he kicked it into the net twice in the dark without being able to see the ball. Like, that's just amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Okay. And then Rijkaard was decent as well, I thought.
Yeah, Rijkaard seems like a thoroughly decent bloke, actually. In fact,
yeah, he does.
No one has a bad word for him.
Yeah, nice man. It's hard to keep track of the amount of trophies and the amount of wins. Has he got 7 Ballon d'Or now?
7 or 8. Was it 8 after the World Cup? It's hard to keep track of anything, Johnny, because the way this book is structured is you have a Barcelona bit, then you have an Argentina bit, and they don't correspond in the same time frame. So you'll be like 2008 Barcelona, you'll jump to 2012 World Cup, and then you jump back. It is so confusing, so poorly structured, which only serves to make the book so much more tedious than it had to be, which was very tedious.
8 Ballon d'Or. It's just hard to keep track of that stuff.
Yeah, and you just don't really need a biography to do it. You just look at his Wikipedia page. That's all there.
Yeah, like, and we've talked about this a million times. Like, just reading about football matches is boring. Like, the matches that happen. Like, if you want to know about Barcelona versus Milan in 2012, go on YouTube and watch it.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I mean, I feel a biography should be to get to know the player, and of course, that's the absolute last thing we do here, because,
but we did get
to reiterate, Balague has no access to Messi at all. No access, genuinely none whatsoever.
I think,
which I found pleasing.
He does have access to George or Jorge.
Yeah, and he has access to Guardiola. He has access to a lot of people, but none of them Messi.
Because I think this is paid for by Jorge, this whole fucking exercise. That's my guess. How could someone sit down and write this nonsense? Like, this guy, he's a journalist by trade. It's nauseating stuff.
Well, I thought this, Johnny, and I was like, how can you write this and have it read back to you and not appreciate how incredibly tedious it is? And then I figured, Johnny, it's his second language. This isn't fair. Like, I mean, how good would you be able to write a biography in another language? So, Johnny, I'm talking the talk. I'm going to walk the walk. I've written Messi's biography in Spanish. Are you ready for this, bruv? I can see you. You look nervous, and you should. All right, then. Okay, this is the first performance, other than for my wife, of La Biografía de Messi by Alistair Bond. Okay. Messi es un bueno jugador. Messi es no interesante. Messi gusto fútbol mucho. Messi amor abuela. Mucho, mucho abuela amor. Messi amor mama y papa. Papa George amor money. Papa George amor money mucho. Messi cries mucho. Messi gusto Argentina. Messi vamos a Barcelona. Messi is triste in Barcelona. Messi gusto PlayStation. Messi gusto restaurantes argentinos. Messi mucho gusto malo endorsements, right? And so then I'm going to throw in 4 pages from Zlatan's autobiography. 4 pages, why not? Fucking throw it in. I've got some quotes from like the World Health Organization about like washing your hands after you go to the bathroom. Like that should be good from Messi. And then I've got 50 pages of stilted match reports from Spanish newspapers. So that's going to pad it out a bit. Okay, Messi mucho goals. Messi vamos a PSG. Messi vamos a America. Messi win World Cup. Messi mucho gusto. Money, money, money. Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia. Finito. Okay, that's my book. Now, Johnny, I don't want you to spare my feelings here, and I want you to be honest. But you've heard my book and you've read Balaguer's book. If you had to read one of them again, which one would you rather read?
Oh, there's no question, Al, that it would be yours. I enjoyed yours.
Thanks very much, Johnny. There you go. I'm not a trained journalist. I'm nothing. I wrote that at 3:45 in the morning on Saturday morning. It took me 5 minutes, and I've still written a better book than fucking Balaguer.
But you know, this has gotten 4.5 and 4.6 on various Amazon sites, which is just insane.
Messi fanboys. It's Messi fanboys, isn't it?
There's this chapter where the whole book is just essentially pondering why Messi is so good. Of course, he quotes Malcolm Gladwell at some point.
Oh, he quotes Gladwell. I've got that there. Discredited Gladwell. He's got him.
But like, you think that is bad? He describes Messi as being like Neo in the Matrix. Come on. In the Matrix at some point when Neo kind of, he does that thing where he crosses over, like he's well and truly whatever Neo is supposed to be. And then he's kind of seeing in numbers. That's what Balaguer was saying about Messi.
Well, Balaguer also says that he cites Jean-Paul Sartre, and Messi is very much like an actor who played William Shakespeare for 15 years and no longer knows who he is. Who the fuck plays William Shakespeare for 15 years? What fucking play is that? Oh, the William Shakespeare play? What? It's just nonsense. What was that film that won the Oscar with William Shakespeare in Love? Yeah. Was that around in the time of Jean-Paul Sartre? I don't think so. So what play was this? It's bollocks. It's all bollocks. He just wants to put Jean-Paul Sartre in. So like, I wonder if Balaguer's quite a Jean-Paul. Yes, he has. He's a genius.
We all remember 3 things from the Olympics in Beijing: Ronaldinho hugging Messi. Don't remember that. No. Kobe Bryant saying hello to Messi. Don't remember that. And Messi taking over from Riquelme, who seems like he was a bit of a bollocks actually to Messi.
Yeah, Riquelme was a right dickhead, wasn't he? Like, that was one I didn't know.
They're the 3 things that everyone remembers from the Olympics, according to Balaguer.
Yeah, I remember it very well. Riquelme's a dickhead, according to Guillem Balague. So probably Riquelme is the coolest man in the whole world. If Balaguer don't like you, I don't know. It doesn't make Ronaldo good. I'm not saying Ronaldo's good. I'm just saying. Yeah, so he gets in Gladwell. He also, Matthew Syed gets his fucking say. Of course he did. Whenever there's a shit quote needed, Matthew Syed's your man. There he is.
Riquelme's crime was Messi walked into his bedroom at nighttime, and Riquelme was like, "Don't you knock." That was it. And I remember hearing, and this is presumably apocryphal, but Lenin was always having people killed, right? And there's this story that he wrote the names of some fellas on some piece of paper, and his henchman came in and was like, those fellas on the piece of paper, yeah, we sorted out them. And he's like, what are you talking about? Oh no, you mean you? And they're like, yes. Oh no, that's not what that list was for. Messi is forever just giving people looks, and that's the end of them. There's a guy, his name was Barta, and he tackled Messi, like a young fella. It was his first training with the senior team for Barcelona, and he put in a tasty tackle on Messi. All of the senior squad surrounded this, 19-year-old player. And
he's an astonishing prima donna. Messi. By the end, everything is to his taste. Maradona had to come and check with him and see if he'd approve his football formation. It's wild.
He says that Maradona is more appealing to Argentinians because of his underdog story and his attitude to authority, whereas Messi is obviously a bit of a cold fish. But who do you think Balague sides with between Messi and Maradona?
Well, I'm going to go Messi.
Do you know what he says? He says that the shanty town that Maradona was from wasn't even as bad as the one that Tevez is from. Okay, totally apropos to nothing there, but okay, Balague.
Yeah, old fucking Maradona had it easy, didn't he? Big moaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite some fun quotes. Romario says Messi has Asperger's. But he gives this a whole couple of pages. This is all in Is Messi a Genius chapter.
Oh, God.
Unresolved. I think the answer is just yes, right? He's the best one.
If Messi is cumbia, which is some kind of Argentinian or Latin music, Maradona is Latin rock, melancholic and excessively sweet pop, and curtetazo, complex with many faces. What is?
I bet that music's shit, isn't it? I bet it's really awful to listen to.
What is this? What are we reading? I just love all things Maradona, I think. And when he came as manager, I was getting excited there. I was really getting excited when he came to manage Argentina.
Well, I got a kick out of it because he kept throwing Messi under the bus, which I thought was fun. Good. Do it. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Maradona as a football manager is just so flawed, isn't it? It's genuinely he's going to be the next England manager. Let's get Gaza. Let's get Gaza in there. He'll do a good job. He was good at football, wasn't he?
He oversees the worst run for Argentina for 25 years during qualification, and then they win the last two games to qualify for the World Cup in South Africa. It was 2010, I guess, right? And then he says into the camera after the match, "Suck it and keep on sucking." He's different. He's a different animal than Messi, I'll tell you that much. Messi is like a lobotomized Maradona or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just with all the interesting parts taken away. Once again, you can't take it away from him. Best ever. Look at his numbers compared with Maradona. They are head and shoulder. They're nowhere close.
Yeah.
But he just zero charisma.
Yeah,
zero. Yeah, here's other things, as you were saying, things that, Ronaldo would be bad. So Messi just refuses to speak English, right? And Balague is applauding him for that. That's brilliant. Don't sell yourself out. The kid from Argentina, well done. But imagine if that was any other player in the world. Imagine if Jude Bellingham's like, Jude, would you mind just saying gracias for the Spanish? I'm not fucking speaking Spanish. I'm not. Just say thank you. No, I won't go out if I have to say a single word in Spanish. Everyone, well done. Well done, Jude, for sticking true to your principles. That just makes you a twat.
Yeah, Gareth Bale. Remember Gareth Bale? Didn't people make fun of him for not learning Spanish?
But I tell you what was worse. It was the people that defended him. Well, this is right. He doesn't have to go and learn Spanish. Why should he? Who are you to tell him what to do? Maybe you'd have a nicer time living in Spain if you could speak Spanish. Saying I, who lived in Cambodia for 5 years and could say turn right, turn left, one beer and get the check, please. Undermining my own point there. But but yes, it's astonishing. Messi. But then when he goes to when he's planning to go out to Miami, then he learns the English. And then well done, Messi, for learning English. Always with an open mind, says Balague. It's pathetic.
And he says, sorry, keeping with Maradona there. So they lost to Germany in the quarterfinals, and Balague says of Maradona, The eternal number 10 would have tried to make the final victory his, but he allowed the defeat to have other authors. He's just total drive-bys here on Maradona. Like, to what end? It's just at every opportunity to, like, how does
burnish Messi, isn't it?
Yeah, but how does it burnish Messi, though?
Because if Maradona hadn't been such a clown, Messi's skill would have enabled Argentina to win that World Cup. With any other manager, Messi's talent would have been shined through. It was Maradona's fault Messi didn't play well because Maradona picked the wrong team for Messi. I really think, yeah, it's just there to make Messi look better. The whole team was shit. Remember that clown team back then? They were terrible. Just really a joke. They played like 4 centre backs before that was a thing. And they had no fullbacks.
He says in Argentina, people like bread and circuses. This is a quote. Some guy called Gerardo Salario. In Argentina, we like bread and circuses. Serious people do not succeed. You have to be a bit of a puppet. Again, this is just to make Maradona look like a clown compared to the serious Messi.
And just don't you think these national identities are such bullshit? I mean, nonsense. When people say, "Oh, Irish people, we know them," like they love a song and a dance, they love a sing along in a pub. Like, and all of a sudden, it's so silly to do that. Like, English people, they love rules. No, what? What? No, they don't. No, they love to queue. What? No, I'm really impatient. I just think it's so lazy and so tired. Well, I could write about the Spanish character now, having read 1,200 pages of Balaguer's efforts. Like, pathetic little worms.
What did you... Spanish people or Balaguer?
Well, Balaguer is all Spanish people to me, and I've gone off them. I've gone off them a lot. I always liked him before.
There was a nice quote from Henri. I asked for a pass one day and then I was dropped. He's never put back in the team. Again, this is Messi just won. Like, he's got some kind of special power where he looks at you and you're just dead. That's the end of you.
Who does he think he is? I mean, Thierry Henry wasn't much of a footballer, was he?
So it went like Samuel Eto'o, Ibrahimovic, Thierry Henry, even humble David Villa. Like, Messi couldn't abide with any of them. Like Ibrahimovic famously, but it's all of them. Yeah,
you have to supplicate yourself entirely, right? I mean, Neymar and Suarez were accepted when they sort of kissed the royal boot. Exactly. We will play for you. We will play for you, Lionel.
You mentioned that story about Magnus Carlsen with Ronaldo. When Carlsen said that Isco was his favourite player and then he was told to do it again until he said Ronaldo. But, like, people make fun of Ronaldo for that. Like, again, Ronaldo's some kind of scumbag, but this was just a consistent thing with Messi. But again, it's not painted as a bad thing by Balaguer.
No, if anything, it's worse, right? Because he really will get you kicked out of the team / club if he's had enough of you. If he feels, and it doesn't take long, does it? He'll make a swift judgment.
And the thing about it was, there's one point, and this is when he's quite senior in the team. There's 4 captains or kind of 4 senior players, and he's none of them. But they're all looking at him, and he just communicates by looks. It's incredible stuff. It's Puyol, Piqué, Xavi, Iniesta, or whatever, and it's not Messi. Whereas Messi is just running the entire thing, like he's the power behind the power or whatever.
Guardiola appreciate right from the get-go that you have to absolutely indulge him at all times. He has to be indulged to get the best out of him.
And that stuff was reasonably interesting insofar as Balaguer can say anything interesting, and I'm generally not all that interested in tactics, but he talks about, essentially how Pep just... Rijkaard saw that Messi was the best and the coming power and was becoming the best player during his time there, but he still kept him a bit on the periphery, whereas Guardiola fairly immediately just put everything around... initially he kind of centred around Xavi, right? But then very quickly it became all about Messi, and that stuff was very interesting. And then they talk about, this kind of creation of this false 9. That was okay. That was reasonably interesting.
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't that.
It was okay. That's the best that we can do.
It really was boring, though. I just cannot reiterate how bored I was by that book, how resentful I felt towards it. Just the repetition and the confusing timeline. I'm repeating myself. The timeline.
Messi scored 211 goals in 219 games under Pep. Like, that is pretty astonishing stuff. And they were just winning right from the start, winning all around them. But, everybody knows that, so what's the point talking about it? And then Tito comes along, jabs in the eye. Messi scores 91 goals in a calendar year. But then this is the kind of where the worm starts to turn with Messi. There's this power vacuum. Pep, the control freak, is gone. And I think this is when Messi becomes a little bit more messianic in his outlook.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely right. Because he did at least respect Guardiola. He didn't respect any of the other coaches, really, did he?
What he starts doing later in his career, in terms of respecting coaches, he starts selecting the coaches. There's that Tata Martino, who's like a new old boys guy, and then of course Scaloni, the World Cup winning manager of Argentina. They're selected by Messi and Jorge.
Yeah, and I honestly do think it's Jorge. I just feel it is. Jorge's up there, Messi telling him what to do.
Messi, half Colossus, half warrior, at times aesthetic, other times epic, always there on an immense night. Messi's reign is that of a benevolent dictatorship, not that benevolent, with gratitude and kindness, which is sweeter than ever last night. This is Ramon Bessa writing in El Pais. Like, again, is it just a language thing? Because this is not how people write in the Daily Mail.
I mean, is it? I mean, I don't know. Do they? I mean, if they wrote about Cole Palmer and they translated it into Spanish, would it sound like that? No, I don't think so.
It would sound cold and detached. You heartless Northern Europeans.
Well, that's true. We hate our heroes here. Like, look at Rooney. How dare you, working class scumbag? Look at how thick he is.
Yeah,
we absolutely destroyed him.
We hate, like, Bono, for example.
Everybody hates Bono.
Yeah.
How is he perceived at Barcelona now? He's still hugely loved, right? And the whole of the thing when he leaves Barcelona is how he's going to try and come back. It's all so disingenuous. Why does he leave Barcelona, Johnny? Why?
Because they want to control, Messi and Jorge want to control essentially the buying of players, and they just want to buy Messi's friends. That's my interpretation. Aguero being one.
Yeah, that's my interpretation as well. At the same time, whilst like extracting about 18% of all the money for it comes into Barcelona, he was an incredible weight on that club by the end, which is they're still feeling the repercussions now. I mean, obviously you have to put the blame at a chairman, but they were just following orders, weren't they, really, from Messi? Yeah, and so he leaves Barcelona. It's not his fault, according to Balague, but according to people in the club, it is his fault. Yeah. But this is the romantic part of the story, isn't it? Because you think, oh, here you go, Messi. This is your opportunity now to fulfill your life's dream. Go back to Newell's Old Boys. Or maybe another interesting club. Oh, where are you going to go? Boo! PSG. The least romantic football team in the whole world. With Man City.
With Man City, yeah, I would say, yeah. So, Leonardo sends down the private jet and brings him to Paris. He's so sad when he arrives in Paris. He's so heartbroken.
Oh, and he's so cognizant of the terrible upheaval for his family. Oh, the family. Well, they had to move from Barcelona to Paris. Can you imagine? They'd have the house sorted out for them. They'd never have to lift a finger. All they'd literally do is have to get in a plane. Oh, it's so sad. But he still tries to make the best of it whilst earning incredible money. Incredible money. I didn't like Messi before, and then when he went to PSG, I really powerfully didn't like Messi. It's like, I'm hooking up my old mate Neymar. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, oh, God. Throw into like the smiling presence of Kylian Mbappe as well. Look at these three fine fellas. They're a great night out. Awful.
Balague says that the world loves Neymar and they like to copy his many hairstyles. I don't think the world really loves Neymar anymore, does it?
Well, I think this is where you've got your North European and South European divide, eh? Like, I think maybe in South America, something like, Neymar, cool guy. And everyone was just, what a cunt. What an absolute asshole. Oh, did you see that he was furious at PSG when he didn't get to take his little trip to Saudi Arabia, but Neymar always got to go home for his sister's birthday. Wink, wink. Off for your sister's birthday, Neymar? Yes, what? What? We know. Yeah, it's awful. You think he can't sink any lower, Balague? He can't get any worse, but there is worse to come. After we win the World Cup, Sergio Aguero's there, and he's up there celebrating with the team. He falls down, hurts his arm. This moment was more Aguero than Aguero. Fucking hell, Guillem. Don't bother. This was more Aguero than Aguero. I bet he think, oh, I've written this in the second language.
Well,
Fuck.
yeah, like I'd like to hear like some puns in your Spanish biography of Messi.
Oh, it can be like that. You said you liked it, Johnny. Can't take it back now.
You know, he says obviously Ronaldo and Messi have both been done for tax in Spain. They've certainly both been investigated, and Messi evaded whatever it was, 5 million, but and he paid it back, and he was actually he got a prison sentence, and so did his father, but they paid money not to go to prison. They had to pay whatever amount for every day that they didn't serve. He got a 21-month prison sentence, but he really goes, he's really involved himself in some incredible gymnastics here, just saying how the Latin world cheats and lies to the taxman. Fraud may be incomprehensible to Northern Europeans, but is an inherent part of Latin culture. What? This is daft.
Yeah, nothing that Messi did is wrong. Nothing he does is wrong. Oh, he can't. Georgie couldn't help it, could he? He's a poor, simple man from Rosario. Oh, probably fooled by Barcelona into not paying his tax. Like, yeah, it's absolutely outrageous. He will defend him no matter what. There's nothing he wouldn't defend him for.
Then he starts talking about Messi's charitable work. You know, he's a UNICEF ambassador. Well, bravo, Messi. And then he starts talking about like future commitments that Messi has made at the time that he's being charged for tax evasion, that he's going to support some team in Rosario. It's like, what? Honestly, this is the way dictatorships operate. It's like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Incredible.
Yes, doesn't matter what he does. He's an angel. Oh, Judge, don't send me to prison. Of course I'll work with kids. Look at Messi working with children. What a hero. Like.
And yeah, so you mentioned Neymar. Again, this is taken directly from the book. Neymar arrives at Barcelona. The senior players were so worried, they wondered what would happen if Neymar scored a hat-trick and the Camp Nou celebrated. He, like Messi, would just look at the crowd and then they'd all be removed and they'd all be banned for life for celebrating. Messi goes to PSG, where he speaks more regularly with the media and, I quote, in an unhurried, carefree fashion, making the journalists believe that their chit-chat was the only engagement he'd had all day.
All day. He's like Tom Hanks, isn't he, Lionel Messi? He's such a lovely fellow.
Antonella, Messi's wife, is his best friend, confident, source of energy and balance, his lighthouse in a storm, and terra firma once it passes. Oh my God. And then she raises the whole family. She's also
what if Antonella cheated on him? What would Balague say? Like, this scarlet Jezebel that led this angel on earth, this innocent, naive angel. Yeah, oh, Antonella. I mean, she is another angel that met Messi. Two angels meet on earth, like, and produce more angels.
After you watched the final, presumably watched the World Cup in Qatar, how would you have described that game?
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant game of football, wasn't it? Fabulous game of football. Truly a fitting denouement.
Would you describe it as probably the best game of football in history?
No.
Because that's guess who uses that exact choice of words.
Balague.
That was an amazing game. It was an
amazing game. Wouldn't it be great if Messi missed the first penalty? Wouldn't that have been just lovely? Oh, he's missed! Oh, he's missed! It would have been. Oh. That's the saddest thing for me. It really saddens me that Argentina won the World Cup. I just deeply didn't want Messi to ever win a World Cup. I always wanted that little asterisk there next to his stupid name.
I got carried away with the whole thing, to be honest. So yeah, just on the Ronaldo stuff. So I said when we did the Ronaldo episode that the book made me like him less, but this book made me like him a bit more, actually, because the world was just designed around Messi from the start. Everything just moved around to his, to suit his, whatever his style of play. Everything was at his pleasure. Whereas Ronaldo really did have to work hard and to kind of establish himself a few times. And he is probably, would you say Ronaldo or Messi is generally, like, not including like the stands who are 12 years old, but who do you think is more generally liked?
No, Messi.
And who do you think deserves to be more generally liked?
Well, you know what I'm going to answer there, Johnny.
Yeah,
It's Ronnie.
but
It's Ronaldo. He did it in loads of teams. He
but
proved his.
just whatever, but as a player, as a man.
I don't know. Just Ronaldo just seems more honest. Like he's just honestly an arrogant twat, whereas Messi pretends to be a good guy, and he's not.
That was my takeaway from this book, that Messi is everything that Ronaldo's accused of being, but he's just never called out on any of it, ever, at all. He's totally celebrated for everything that Ronaldo is castigated for. It's total bullshit.
Yep, I'm 100% on board with that. Just because he's, as you say, I mean, like, we always talk about, oh, look at Ronaldo, doesn't celebrate other people's goals. But as you say, if Messi doesn't get the right pass, he'll get you kicked off the fucking team.
He'll be carted out, he'll be taken out of the stadium.
Yeah, it's wild, but like Ronaldo's this egotistical asshole, whereas Messi does exactly what he wants, whenever he wants, gets coaches overthrown, and he's this humble little angel from Rosario. Yeah, it's awful. And now he's in Miami. I live in Florida, and it's just sickening. It's sickening the Messi love here. Like, you can't walk around like Florida without seeing a Messi t-shirt like on sale.
I've got good news for you. I read it today. There's talk of a Neymar Messi Suarez reunion in Inter Miami.
Oh God! I mean, how much are you going to pay him? Because he's going to be injured all the time. Like he's never going to be. Why?
But you know what he could? You know what he could do? He could do what Messi told Barcelona he would do. He could play for free. Do you think that was a genuine offer from the Messi camp?
Oh no, that wouldn't have been possible. No, that wouldn't have been possible. No, that was a lie. There's a rule. Yeah, there's a rule. The Spanish FA would say no, you can't play for free. Why would they be against that? Of course they'd let him play. If he said, I'll just play for free, they'd let him pay for. Oh no, because they have a complex algorithm. They work out your value and you have to be paid. But
25 million.
He had a minimum of 25 million, and that's the Spanish FA. They make them do that. It's bollocks, isn't it? It's just bollocks. It's pulled up some bollocks rule. And if Messi had gone to him and say, listen, there's a special circumstance. I love Barcelona with all my heart. I want to play here, and I understand they're in financial issues, so I'd like to volunteer to pay for nothing. No, we can't allow that. Why would you not allow that? What possible rule could that be against? Oh, no, that's wrong because absolute insanity. But yeah, so Messi leaves Barcelona, but it's all Barcelona's fault. Everything's Barcelona's fault. Poor Messi, just a pawn in the machinations of the leadership of the Barcelona machine.
When in reality, Barcelona were just a pawn in the machinations of Jorge Messi, I think, right? That Jorge Messi,
I wouldn't trust him at all. There you go, wins the World Cup, ruins everything. Everyone says he's the best. Ugh. Now he's just walking around in Miami while everyone claps him. By the way, did you see Inter Miami played Al Nassr in some game? Al Nassr won 5-0.
Oh,
Fuck off out.
He'd probably go and play for Newell's Old Boys, and then he'll go and play for Barcelona for free.
I confidently predict he will never play for Newell's Old Boys. He's never going to lower himself like that again, is he? He's just not. No. He wants his fucking private jet, his polka dot suit. Anyway, this was an ordeal. This was a horrible ordeal, this book.
So how many polka dot suits? What are we using here now?
I'm going to go for dead grandmas. Rub it in. 0 dead grandmas. 0 dead grandmas out of 5. That's how
Zero out of 5.
Don't read this book. Whatever you do, even if you fucking love Messi, you got a Messi poster, a Messi duvet cover. Don't read this book. There must be a better Messi book out there.
I just read his Wikipedia page and look at YouTube.
Yeah, it's not going to take 14 hours of your life.
I'll give it 1 dead grandmother.
Well, that's one. That's how many dead grandmothers Messi's got. So, yeah. Terrible terrible, terrible book written by a terrible, terrible man.
Who's worse? Who's a worse man, Messi, Messi or Balague?
Balagay's worse, but only
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, he's two places ahead of us in the UK podcast charts. Oh.
I saw that. Well, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. Yeah, let's take this opportunity. Yeah, we have broken into the top 100 Football UK podcast. Thank you very much if you've been listening. Please subscribe. Please rate us 5 stars. Please tell us your friends. But we're very, very grateful. And this has been fun doing this Messi and Ronaldo axis.
Yeah, we had to read for so long, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't fun at all for 14 hours, but I've enjoyed just tearing him apart, knobheads. And I mean Balague there, really. Yeah, I never had a bad thought about Balague before. He was just, there he is, Spanish football guy. There he is. And now, when I see him, daggers, I'll be giving him a messy look.
The next book is Dr. Socrates, Footballer, Philosopher, Legend by Andrew Downey. Socrates of Brazil football fame.
Well, Johnny, I am very much looking forward to this book. If it's anything like the Garincha book, we're in for a lovely 8 hours reading. I've checked already. 8 hours reading only.
Yeah, okay, that's exciting. Yeah, and we're on the old Instagram and Blue Sky now. All 3 fans. We had 4 and one of them left.
Well, he's missing out on some great, great content. Johnny sent me a WhatsApp earlier in the week saying, just write one of his jokes. I don't know how to write a joke. I just don't know how to do it on social media. I'm so shy.
You like Messi?
Yeah, like Messi. I always get it wrong. I made one social media post about that small bones haircut, and I was like, football's haircuts have gone too far. And then someone was like, he has alopecia, you idiot. Like, delete. He had this little, it was like the opposite of a monk's tonsure. Like, the whole of the head was bald, but he just had the tonsure bit covered in hair. I was like, that's funny. It wasn't funny. It was a disease. So I realised now. I think it was my last ever tweet. I was like, this is too dangerous. I once made a remark I didn't like Craig Charles on Facebook, and someone started a message thread being like, Alistair Bond, fuck off. It's a minefield, Johnny. It's a minefield. Craig Charles is a bit of a wanker. Alistair Bond, why don't you fuck off? Crikey. Anyway, I'll keep trying.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, Al, and thank you very much, Guillem, for the last month and for those 40 hours that we won't get back.
Well, I once at the end of these podcasts said, fuck you, James Milner. Well, I take that back. I don't mean fuck you. Your book was short. Fuck you, Guillem Balague. Sincerely, fuck you. What a terrible book. Please don't write any more. They're the worst. Thanks very much.
But we will do the Pep one, right?
Let's see how long it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Johnny. And we'll see you next time with Dr. Socrates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let your body spin like there is nothing in life but dancing. I can't keep my hands off you, as if just a glass.